Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I will be doing my July reading wrap-up. So July was a very good reading month for me. I read a total of 6 books and I'm just very proud with that. A lot of the first 2 I read this month were quite big, so I'm pleased with that. For the past few months I've been reading 8 books, but I will settle with 6, which is, you know, pretty above average for my reading per month. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So some of these were very nostalgic to 5 out of the 6 of these were rereads for me, so that's always good. It's always kind of good revisiting favorites that you haven't read in a while. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So starting out, I first read the Tales and Teacups book club pick for the months of July and August, which was The Splendid and Vile by Erik Larson, and I was super excited for this book. I read a few of Erik Larson's books in the past and really liked them, so I had high expectations for this book, and it did not disappoint. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. It's basically a non-fiction kind of novelization of Winston Churchill during his time being Prime Minister during the Blitz, specifically kind of focusing on the first couple years of World War II. So I'm a sucker for World War II, as you guys know, so I was really excited for this, and especially kind of learning more about Winston Churchill from shows like The Crown. I feel like he's just a very interesting individual, so I was really excited for this, and yeah, I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think he does a really good job at making something for the last maybe 70 or so pages, it is no joke, just all references in here. So he does a good job at integrating real life accounts of the people that were Winston Churchill and also the people a part of his inner circle, which was really interesting. You get diary entries, you get, memo, meaning minutes that were sent out. It's a very interesting take on it, and he does a good way. He is very good at writing this in a way that it doesn't read like a history book where it's just dry and boring. It's very much kind of like I said, a novelization of the events going on, and you also get the German perspective and the American perspective in the governments as well. And I felt like integrating those viewpoints was very good. It kind of added to kind of expanding the world and kind of understanding what else was going on during this point in time. My only complaint was that I did find it hard to keep track. This is just my little complaint. It wasn't necessarily the writing, it was just keeping track of all the people that are in here, because they have Lord, so and so that has 5 titles to their name. It was just hard to keep track of who is who in their position, but you do get reminders throughout. But nevertheless, it was a very good book to read. It took me a while to get through this because, as you can see, it's quite hefty, but nevertheless I still really loved it. It's a really solid nonfiction read, so if you're looking to get into nonfiction, I recommend starting with Erik Larson because he is very good with that. So continuing on with my rereading of the Harry Potter series, I ended up picking up the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So this is the last one in my Harry Potter rereads where I've read it recently. So I listened to the audiobook for this one last summer, and it was nice experiencing it with the illustrations. As you can see, they're very well done, and it just adds to a good reading experience. So there's so many storylines in here because I've seen the movie so many times, but I haven't read Harry Potter when I initially read it in 2008 when I was going into grade 9, so I haven't read it in 12 years, sat down and physically read it. So it's just been super good, just kind of going back into this world and falling in love with the characters again, and just kind of remembering the storylines that I completely forgot about. So it makes me super just nostalgic, and it gets that school feeling and just the feeling that you have reading Harry Potter. So obviously I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, and the illustrations are spectacular. This book, we weighed it actually, and this book is 5 pounds, so I can only imagine how heavy the 5th book is going to be in the illustrated edition of it, because this thing is quite hefty. And lastly, I ended up reading the last 4 books in the Gallagher Girls series by Ali Carter, being Don't Judge a Girl by Her Cover, Only the Good Spy Young, Out of Sight, Out of Time, and United We Spy. And this is a series that was the equivalent of my Harry Potter, because I didn't grow up reading Harry Potter. I just read Harry Potter when all the books were out. I never really grew up with it, but this was a series like this is my equivalent of Harry Potter for me, because the first book came out when I was in grade 7 and the last book came out when I was in my first year of university. So this is definitely a series that I have grown up with, and me and my friend are rereading this for the summer. So it was been super nostalgic because we both read the series when we were younger, and now we are in our mid-20s. So it's kind of interesting reading this from an adult perspective. And I do have a vlog coming up, so keep your eyes peeled of me going through rereading all the books and just my internal commentary on what's going on. It's mostly me having an existential crisis on how much I've forgotten. I'm a little concerned about my memory in here, but also it's kind of like super nostalgic too. So if you are a fan of the series, keep your eyes peeled for that. You can kind of see me kind of going through this, because after, like, I kind of remembered the first plot, like the plot for the first one and the second one, but basically starting with book 3 I didn't remember anything, and it was like reading them for the first time. So yeah, I definitely think the first 2 books are very kind of juvenile, but they do kind of, it's like the first 2 Harry Potter books where they're, you know, they're just kind of setting up the world. They're still kind of really childish, and it isn't until the 3rd book that kind of the plot picks up with the overarching kind of, you know, narrative, and the characters get, you know, things get a little bit darker. But definitely the first 2 books I would say were like 3 out of 5 stars rereading them as an adult, but these last 4 were spectacular. I gave them 5 out of 5 stars. There's some like nitpicky things in here, but it's just like, they're just fun reads, and they're not meant to be like super, you know, I'm not supposed to like be like critically, you know, critiquing everything in here. Like, there's some mild complaints, but they're just a fun read, and I'm like, I can't wait till I have kids and they can read this. Like, oh, I was thinking about that. But yeah, it definitely was really fun rereading this series. It makes me just super nostalgic, and I love Cammy as a character and seeing her grow, and, you know, as it, like, basically she's, you know, in grade 10, and then when she's graduating high school. So it's interesting seeing her grow throughout, you know, the 6 books. And I love how it highlights, you know, strong female friendships, you know, having a good mother-daughter relationship. Like, I love a lot of the themes that are talked about in here, and the overall mystery of the kind of, you know, what is going on with the, you know, overarching narrative is a lot of fun. So I think my favorite out of here would have to, like, out of the 6, like top 3 would be Don't Judge a Girl by Her Cover, Out of Sight, Out of Time, and United We Spy. It's just, I just love it. So that is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for my, you know, reaction video of rereading this entire series. I think it'll be out the 3rd week of August, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.